Hey friends, just realized I have my headphones still on. Easy tools aren't necessarily better. Faster tools aren't necessarily better. Just as an example for this, today I'm doing a lot of my writing work. It has to do with my getyourstufftodothings.com stuff, which there's still an email going out for soon, but it's got to do with I'm releasing, I'll go and say it, free versions of some of that material while it's in development to get your feedback on, figure out what's addressing your situation and isn't, so I can improve and further develop that. But it's free if you join that list at getyourstufftodothings.com. But while I'm doing that work, as one of my little small kind of micro, I hate to call it productivity hacks, but it is, one of the little things that I do is I've got a setup that I use where I have a keyboard in front of me and no mouse, right? I own several kinds of mice-like input devices, right? I got wireless silent mouse, I've got trackpads, I've got a writing tablet back there, got a trackball, got some touch screens, you name it, I've got different kinds of things to use for a mouse. But one of my setups I do when I'm doing extended writing sessions is specifically a setup where in order to use the mouse, I've got to reach up onto the thing where my laptop is elevated and use the trackpad in this real awkward position because that keeps me from instinctively doing other unproductive stuff with the mouse. I'm there to get writing done. So most of my work should be on the keyboard. Now granted, you pick up a couple keyboard shortcuts so you can keep flying around in the text. Doesn't take that long to figure out page up, page down, holding Control or Alt to jump words, that kind of stuff. But I find that depending on which tools you're using, it's going to change what is your path of least resistance, what comes most naturally. I mean, it's the same reason why even if in principle I could do writing work on my phone and I might jot a note here and there, you know, in a Trello board or in a, kind of just like Trello these days, in a Workflowy. I've been trying that lately, been happy with Workflowy. You know, so jotting notes on my phone occasionally, but for an extended writing session, I want to set up where I have a really inconvenient mouse cursor setup because that avoids me being distracted by doing the kind of things that when we have a mouse in our hands, we just start reflexively, instinctively doing. You can think of this as, you know, there's different kind of utensils you can use to eat, and just because it might be faster to eat with a fork, a certain kind of food, than, say, chopsticks, and granted, maybe that's because I'm not as proficient with them as I am with a fork, then perhaps there's some, I can digest it better because I'm slowing down. That the goal is not to eat it as fast as I can. And that when you are working on different things, it's the same reason why occasionally writing on paper with a pen, you know, or on a whiteboard can be beneficial to us is in part because it slows us down. Because we're going to put a little bit more thought into what we put down if it's harder to erase than if it's on a screen. Or if it's a little more space confined on a whiteboard than we'd have on an infinite digital space. That it's not that arbitrarily better in every dimension, speed, editability, length, make it easier or better. That's taking away your constraints, and anybody who's got design experience of any kind, level design, game design, product design, brochure design, knows that constraints are an important part of doing excellent work. And so, like I say, a more powerful, faster tool is not necessarily the thing that's going to help you actually get the most important value across. The biggest work done, the best work done that you can. There's a time and place for different work setups depending on the kind of work that you're doing. And I said when I'm doing writing work, I specifically inconvenience myself when it comes to using the mouse cursor so that I'm going to mostly focus on my words on the page, rearranging those, editing those, typing those out, that kind of thing. Likewise, so there's opposite situation too, right? There's cases where when I'm just trying to rearrange notes that I've already mostly typed up, I'm mostly kind of in a revision type phase, moving chunks around, reordering stuff. In those cases, again, I will actually flip around kind of a tablet setup where I've only got a touchscreen or I've only got a mouse, and for the keyboard I've got to type on a screen because I want it to be more about the rearranging, less about adding more material than what's already there. So anyway, I think I've probably got the point across today, right, of inefficient tools used strategically, used deliberately, and inefficient setups have their place in terms of allowing you to focus on one kind of work or another. That's all for the day. Thanks for tuning in. Have another video for y'all soon.